Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Going to be doing some fishing with light tackle here in the sea from a small boat, 17 footer, and what I'm going to use it to attract them. The fish is a flatfish. We're targeting plaice. We're going to be using, wait for this, spoons. These are plastic tablespoons, picnic spoons, cut off there. They spin, they revolve, they catch flatfish. And listen, if there's one species I do like fishing for, it's plaice across clean ground. I guess because I don't want to lose any tackle. You know, when you're bumping along on the drift in your boat and you suddenly lock everything up, you have to point, screw the drag right out, put the lever up, wind it round your reel, tie a piece of broomstick to it, hang, bang, you've lost a lot. Not only do you have to wind up and tackle up and start all over again, yes, like you guys are nodding, you know what it's like, but you are wasting that all-important fishing time over the mark. So with plaice fishing, what I like to do is fish with something like a 1/0 hook. Now, you can use there's two ways of thinking of this. You can use a strong wire hook in, let's say, an Aberdeen design, about a 1/0, maybe a 2/0 if you're enthusiastic in catching big fish or thinking of catching a big fish. You might want to go bigger, think, you know, I don't want to go too fine in the wire. There might be something like turbot or brill, a bigger species of flatfish, over those banks. You hook up, the hook springs back, you lose the fish, but because the hook is fine wire, okay, it doesn't just go back and stay straight like this, it springs, patwang, and goes back into position. So you just wind in and go, oh man, I lost the fish. How come I lost the fish? The hook's okay. Yes, because the wire might be too fine. So I like to use a fairly strong wire hook in a 1/0 size for plaice. That way, look, I run the risk I might hang in the bottom, but I can still pull it out. If I get a bigger fish, hopefully I won't lose it. Light tackle will be about 12-pound line, 20-pound line, just average. No point using great big heavy boat rods, 30-pound class boat rods, because the majority of plaice we get around the UK are, you know, they're small. But they're fun to catch on light tackle. They give you a real good rod rattling bite. And do you know what? You carp and coarse and pike guys out there could probably use your gear, certainly pike and carp gear, and just get out on a boat somewhere, see if you can't catch some plaice. But the most important thing are these little plastic teaspoons. I'm going to show you 3 rigs that's worth using. Now then, you can use as long or as short a trace as you want. There is just no real guaranteed way of knowing what the fish are going to take on that day. And of course, if you catch on, let's say, a 2 feet long trace, a couple of feet long, you're going to want to use that again. Equally, if you're in fast tides, you might want to use a longer trace, sometimes 6, 8 feet long. If you've caught fish on that, you're totally ingrained into doing that again. Anyway, it's up to the individual. I've made my trace here, just going to show you, out of the yellow line here, just so you can see it. So it's come from the rod top, here's the rod top line going down like this. I've got on here, just so you can, hopefully you might see it, might focus, it might not, a boom. The leg clipped on there, it drops down to the seabed, but I've got 2 plastic spoons here, which I'm going to show you close up in a minute. That one is a teaspoon, plastic picnic teaspoon from something like Poundland, and then a larger one which is the tablespoon size. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bit closer up down there. Hopefully you'll get more of an idea of these 3 rigs I'm going to show you. They're worth a shot. I've caught on all 3 before. Do you know what? You can experiment with whatever you want. So here is one of the 3 rigs. So there's my reel line there. That comes down from the rod top. I'll just hold it so you've got the right angle there, you guys might be able to see. There's a little boom, a little running boom, slides up and down the line there. Comes up against a swivel. And then I have my trace, which I showed you earlier. I come all the way along here, pull it along to the first hook, which is there. You should be able to just see that. There's my 1/0 hook, which is quite a strong wire one. Not going to mention any names, but you can put on there whichever one you want. That's a 1/0 I'm using there. And I've cut off the plastic teaspoon, drilled a hole there, and I've got it locked either side with red beads. If you look in our notch, you'll see how to do this dropper loop. You see where it stands off like this. It sticks away from the main trace because it's going to be hanging like that in the tide. My worm bait's going to go on there. And this one in particular, what I do is I thread the worm up here, thread the worm up to about there, and the pressure of the water pushes the spoon down on top. Then at the bottom, bottom of this, another 2 or 3 feet away, there is my bottom hook on this running ledger trace. It has a large spoon there, a large plastic picnic tablespoon. As I say, I got mine from Poundland. You've got to search around for them a bit. Sometimes they got them in stock, sometimes they haven't. Get them from where you want. I don't work for Poundland. I just go there because it's cheap. Well, pound actually. Bead either side. I put a double loop through the bead, so that particular spoon there is locked. Okay, it's locked on the line, and I'm allowing, let's say, a single ragworm around here and up to about there. So the worm will go up to my fingernail, okay, and the spoon will just be flashing around over the top of it. So that's a running ledger 2-hook spoon rig for plaice. Now, let me just mention the leads. Variety of leads. There's different ways of thinking about this. Let me just get that lead off there. You can have just a standard lead like this, which is just a regular standard lead. But there's also people that think about just not wanting a snag at all, and yes, I'm one of them. And sometimes there's a situation where you want just a ball weight. This one is a British Columbian salmon fishing ball weight there, which is very good. It doesn't snag. So if it's slightly snaggy over mussel beds, pea shingle beds, something like that, shellfish beds, then you might want to consider using this ball weight, which look, it rolls around and it bumps like this over the top of things, so you don't snag up so much. Or you can use what we used to call them watch leads, a flat lead. The thinking being, as this gets dragged along on a fast drifting boat, it bumps and kicks along the sand. Does it look like another flatfish? Or does the sand thrown up from it, does that what attracts a flatfish? So, variety of different weight sizes that you can use, all pretty light. Now, another rig you can use is this one. This one is a long 6-foot trace, we'll say. You can have it 5 feet if you want. It has the spoon here, the plastic TV locking beads. You can put split shot either side if you want. You don't have to have beads there. Don't pinch them too tight because you want it spinning like that, as you can see there. You want it spinning in the water, or at least fluttering. If you're on a slow drift, it might not spin, might not be enough current, but it will flutter, and they're going to see it from this way. If you look at it like this, most people putting a tackle rig together go, oh look, oh you can see it spin and flash. Ah, hang on, the fish is coming from behind it. His view is going to be, if I can get this right without putting a hook in my finger, that way. So look how much more flash there is from the back side of the hook, the fish's eye view there. But then what a lot of people do is they bling it up big time, like this. Strings and strings of beads. Now, there's a school of thought that says plaice like colour, and they do like colour, they do like this bling. Everybody uses it that does a lot of plaice fishing. There's my hook. You simply slide the lot up there, bait your worm up, and then just lower it down on top. But here's a little totally awesome tip. Somebody must have told me this somewhere. Put your contrast, black and gold is good, but put a contrast bead like these, alternating them about, guess, wait for this, the same distance as a plaice's eyes are apart. Because I was once told that the distance spacing from that bead to that bead, we're going to say, is about the size of plaice's eyes that are apart on a decent sized fish. So the spoon going along the bottom attracts them, but then hang on, does this look like, you know, the contrast, another plaice's eye? I don't know, or two eyes, because don't forget both eyes are on top. So a little tip there, you see, it's always something new to learn in fishing. Plenty of bead. Use what colour you want, folks. You don't have to have red and white. I use red and white because that's what I raided from the wife's box. Third one, just an idea, is same spoon rig, running ledger rig. Still got the spoon here, look. But occasionally you'll have a very slow drift and you're going to get crabs, more so, let's say, in the warmer months in the summer. I've got a locking bead there. Locking bead means I've gone through there twice to loop it, just to fix it. If I slack back there and make the loop loose, I can move up and down again, so I can alter it. About the length of a worm, look here, if you can see that there, about there. But you're asking yourself, well, what's this great big bead here? It's what's called a pop-up bead. It is a buoyancy aid, and if you've got crabs, that will just float as the hook. It will float the bait off the bottom out of the way of the crabs. There's the stop bead, this red one. So listen, you're bumping along the bottom, but rather than dragging along like this where the crabs can get it, this bead on a slow drift, on a slow drift, might just pop that bait up enough to keep it out the reach of those greedy crabs. So potentially 3 different rigs there that you can try for plaice, or indeed any flatfish. Turbot, brill, all those sort of flatfish do like a little bit of bling, do like a little bit of flash and colour. Don't we all? So there we go, guys. Plastic teaspoons, well, they do work, trust me. There's only one thing to do. Add water. Let's get out on the boat. Well, the venue for this fishing trip was just off the coast, the south coast of the UK. I'm going to call it, well, basically just the Eastern White area, and there, who can guess where that is? Yes, it's the Portsmouth area. And we're not very far offshore, I guess we're half a mile or so. Now, plaice fishing is nothing about to do the size of the rod and the reel, really, because they're quite a smallish fish. What does govern you is the strength of the tide and the depth of water you're fishing in. You therefore need more lead, and that might mean you have to use a slightly heavier rod. But if you can use light gear, it gives you a better fight with the fish, and you certainly get a better bite indication.
We've got a smoothound. I won't say it's the biggest one I've ever caught.
He's a smoothound, you're correct, isn't it?
Yeah, embryonic one. But what it is, we're in March, so it's early doors. You're going to get a few little fish like this around. And perfectly formed. Now people say that's a starry. Well, it's also common. They're the same fish. It's been proven now by DNA. There's no such thing as a starry or a common. It's just a smoothound. Some have spots, some don't. But there you go. Beautiful little fish in miniature there.
Good sign for the spring starting to warm up. Water's warming up, Wayne.
You're getting them throughout the year now down south. I mean, sorry, the radio's going.
This is what you get when you come down this way.
There we go, best thing to do about that. And yeah, you get them all year round, just to reiterate what we were saying. But now you'll get the small ones because they've not long pupped. Anyway, this one's going back. Watch him swim off very well, I've no doubt.
Go on.
Well, we're here on the Blocks, which is a well-known mark just outside Langston Harbour. So called because there's submerged blocks which were submarine defences just behind us. Catch many people out if they don't know about them. But this was once a very, very good plaice mark. Now the water, you can probably see, is really green, not great. But I've got a fish on here, and before I see what it is, I'm going to call it a plaice because it just stayed down, feels plaice-like. We've only had shoal bass, little tiny bass other than that, so this feels like an alright fish actually, particularly for this area. So here it comes out the gloom. You can see how dark it is. The trace isn't very long. I still can't see the fish, but it's got to be a plaice, isn't it? It's got to be. Just
see my string of plastic picnic spoons.
Well,
spoons, half my wife's cutlery's coming up the trace.
Got one of Graham's traces on. I thought, oh, it's a nice place. Oh my.
Net job. Oh, he's all right, Wayne.
That is a nice place for this area. Look at him. Oh, lovely fish. That's a nice place. Let's have him in before we. Oh my.
That's more than two.
That's got to. That's over £2.
That's a cracker.
That is a really nice place.
There's no potluck. The fish is on Wayne's boat, and the boat's called Thresher. Never mind about potluck. There's no potluck on this boat. It's guaranteed.
Oh, there we go. That's a very nice. And I'll tell you what, he looks like he's got a bit of substance.
Three, Wayne, I reckon that.
He's got a bit of substance about him. They're normally very, very thin this time. We're early year, so they're normally very, very thin. But that,
God, that's a nice place, isn't it?
That is a really nice fish. I want to be a bit careful with him because
I've no idea what a hook is. We need a brain surgeon or not.
Well, he's throated it a bit, but that's a lovely.
That's a lovely fish, isn't it? Look at the size of that.
And
beautiful markings.
What is more nice about it is the fact that we're early season when they're normally very thin and spawned out. You can also look straight through them if you hold them up to the light. That's got a little bit of substance to it. But
beautiful, clear underneath too, Wayne. And they show people the underneath that.
Yeah,
that's a really good eating fish, that one, yeah.
Yes, it'd be nice because he's got a bit of thickness to him. So
beautiful looking fish.
That is a lovely fish. I don't want to hurt him because you say that on my.
You weren't going to say you're going to put him back, were you?
Well, if it was down to me, I would. But you're looking at him with a bit of a glint in your eye, Graham. Yeah. I think he's dinner, isn't he?
I think he might be that way.
Yeah, okay then. Right, I'll.
That's a lovely looking fish.
Another bite, kicking like a plaice again. Could be another one.
You tend to find when they're fighting, there's a little bit, they hang deeper, Wayne?
Yes, they do, and it's kicking like a plaice. People say plaice don't fight well, but this one's just gone right way back to the bottom with a run. That's another reason for using a strong hook. I mean, you use fine wire hooks, yes. It's definitely plaice. He's had another run.
He's digging, isn't he? He's digging.
But the reason for using strong hooks is if you've got like a decent sized plaice on, say.
Oh, yeah. Was that a flounder or plaice?
No, it's a plaice. Not as big as the last one, but it's still a nice fish. It's still a decent fish. Here he comes. Still a very, very reasonable fish. There you go. Look at my trace there, absolutely full of what you call bling. But I'm one of these people that's absolutely convinced that they use sight a lot for their feeding. Anything that attracts them, they're curious fish. And as you can see, it's worked in this instance. That's another reasonable place for where we are.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Close to home, isn't it, Wayne? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've spent a lot of fuel today.
Well, I've got a fish on. It's really pulling hard. We just put some bigger leads on. I had to go to 4-ounce leads. Try and make sure they're anchored on the bottom. It doesn't feel like one of the plaice. But what a gorgeous day to be out. Early in the season, I'll tell you what, it's a godsend trying to get out. Oh, bass, yeah. Got a nice little bass. He loves my plastic teaspoon. Look at that. You never see a shinier plastic teaspoon than that. It's been worn and polished smooth by years of catching nothing. And there we go. Little bass there. Got his spine up for us as well. Don't forget, if there's youngsters out there, don't just grab them because you can see the spines on the back. Sometimes little spines around the edges. Grab them really carefully. In fact, I'm going to grab him on the other side. You can see the ragworm there. And you can actually see how far I've got. Let me just show you this. I've got that teaspoon about a good 12 inches away from the bait. So I just figure maybe, look, it can't do any harm, can it? And certainly with a 1/0 hook, it's got that fish just there. There's something about bass, they are a superb looking fish, and this one's going straight back.
Don't you let that fire go now.
I don't know what this is actually. I don't know. It could be another plaice. It could be another plaice.
Staying deep, Wayne?
Yeah, sort of. It's sort of yeah, it's sort of knocking about a little bit. So I don't know. It's not a totally conventional plaice fight, but we're in no depth of water here, of course. A bit hard to say, but yeah, it could be another plaice.
Oh, yeah, I'll get it down as a plaice, Wayne.
Yeah.
He's woken up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, there
yes,
you go.
there you go.
Number 3.
Come aboard and enjoy.
Yeah, there we go. A little bit smaller than the others, and I'll tell you what, he can go straight back. I'm not going to mess about. He can.
Got beautiful orange markings on him, that one.
Yeah, they're gorgeous fish. I mean, I'll never tire of seeing them come up. And as you say, those lovely orange spots, they we'll get them in the sun there. They're a thing of beauty, aren't they? Really. But he can go straight back anyway. He's not sizable for. Well, he's sizable actually. There's places smaller than this on the fishmonger's slabs, but for my liking, he's certainly not big enough to eat. So we'll have him back in ASAP.
Well, it didn't finish there because I wanted to gut and clean those fish for the long drive home. Always clean the fish. They smell in the car otherwise. I was going to be using a filleting knife, but not any old filleting knife. I was going to be using a totally awesome filleting knife made from a broom handle full of tiger shark teeth. Oh yes, it really does cut. A little tip when you're cleaning fish is don't clean them in a marina because there could be fuel or oil residues about from the boats there. So it's a little tip, or even up estuaries where there's a lot of boat activity. I'm trying to do this in a clean area, and you can see this tiger shark knife is very, very, very sharp. I'm just using what, probably about 2 or 3 teeth there, to gut and clean this fish. Now all fish need to get the guts out, because the first thing that goes off, as it were, especially in warm weather, are the guts. You need to get those guts out. And you can see here how sharp this knife is. It's just something I came up with. So if I'm just cutting that with 3 or 4 tiger shark teeth, can you imagine what a real tiger shark would do? And he's got like 400 teeth in there. I'm just going to split that stomach there, and what's in there? A stone. Because don't forget, plaice are bottom feeders. I think most fishermen that are worth their salt, as they say, like to look and see what the stomach contents are, so they know what the fish have been feeding on. Here you can see little bits and pieces of crab, so they've been feeding on what we call pea crabs, and obviously small mussels, pea mussels, because that's what they're over the beds for. I never used to think that. I never used to think they did eat the actual mussels, but they do indeed eat the mussels. In fact, they're quite an aggressive species, so get those guts out of any fish you intend taking back for eating. Really, ideally, do it out in the boat, but I wanted to do this as soon as I got back, because I've got a bit of a drive to get back home. So there you go, something different, cleaning a fish with a filleting knife made from tiger shark teeth.